Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe. We learn and we grow together, y'all. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla, and y'all, I say Tesla does what Tesla does, right? So we bounced off of this 340 low here only to make a high of 355.40, and y'all see where we got rejected right at a place that I had marked. And what's so important about that, y'all, is just simple support and resistance, right? So we got rejected at this level here only to come back down to this level and find support, kind of like where we knew we could possibly have trouble. And notice I say possibly, y'all, because in this market, anything is possible, right? So as of now, where are the trouble places for Tesla? Again, we closed at 344.27, and pre-market, we've had trouble in this area here, which is around the 347.78, right? So is this presenting a flag for us? So that's why we see this line right here, because I need to watch this level. It could be a tricky level. You know, we could still keep support here and move back to the upside. Again, that's why it's important. Trade what you see, right? So where are the trouble places for Tesla today? Back to the upside, we will need to get back above this level here of, let's see, right there at 346.84. Breaking that, we could possibly have trouble again. 347.27, breaking that. 347.78. As you can see, there's a lot of resistance in this area here for Tesla, one being the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart around that 347.13. So we need to break through all of those layers of resistance to continue to the upside. So if we break through to this 347.78, we could possibly have trouble again here. 348.75, 349.37, 350.02, 350.61, 351.88, and again here around the 353.02 area, breaking that 353.44 and 354.55. Now to the downside, if by chance we lose this area of support here, which 346.23, we could possibly come back to around this level here and find support at 345.59. Breaking that, we're going to use the 50 EMA, 345.19. Right under that, I have 344.80 as a level of support. Should we lose that area, 344.29, and breaking that brings us back to this area around 343.80. Now breaking at 343.80, and why? Because y'all see price was in this area. This candle here stopped there, and let's see, some areas on this level of 343.80. Now breaking that brings us back to 343.44, which is the ATR trailing stop, which is here. Now breaking that level, we're really close, 343.25. That's what's been holding us up in this area here. So should we lose this area of 343.25 area, we could very well come back to 342.76, 342.15, 341.60, 341.18. So those are possible support areas for Tesla. Now breaking this 341.18 area, we could very well come back to 340.82, and again here at 340.05. So if you are trading Tesla today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, y'all, not financial advice, right? So we are looking at the SPY. We closed at 596.09. And it seems like we are having trouble in this area here of 397.67. So that's our pre-market high thus far, and that it is a resistance area for us. Now, should we break, through that level, we could possibly have trouble again here, 398.04, 398.29, again here at 398.98. And if we break that 398.98 area, we could very well have trouble somewhere around the 395. Did I say 3? Let me rephrase that. Okay, back to 596. 596.09 is where we close for the SPY, y'all. I do apologize. So 596.71, breaking that level. We were here at the 597.67, and I'm going to mark that only because it's an area that is kind of like in between a gap area. So just know that if we should break this area 597.69, we could possibly have trouble 598.05. Again, 598.98. Breaking that brings us back to 599.60. $600.14 and breaking that $600.98, and I do apologize for that. If we break through that level, 601.40 could be a rejection area for the SPY. And if we break that, y'all see there's a few layers, 601.77, 602.07. Those are resistance areas or places that we could possibly get rejected for the SPY. Now back to the downside, under 596.71, we could come back to 596.45, not far away, and find support. Breaking that, 595.97. Breaking that brings us back to where this ATR trailing stop, and y'all see the 50 EMA, the ATR trailing stop, and a few layers of support here in this area around the 595.50. So if we should come back to this 595.50, there's a few layers under there, 595.14, 594.96. That's a strong area of support for the SPY, in my opinion. Now, if we lose this area of support under the 594.96, we could very well come back to 594.17, 593.30, again at 592.62, breaking that 592.18. Should we break that level, the 200 EMA, as of now, 591.99, we're going to use that as a support place. If we break that level, 591.57, again at 590.89, 590.16, and breaking that 589.68. So if you are trading the SPY today, I say trade carefully, and I definitely need to get my numbers correct today. So again, let's look at NVDA just to see where we are. We closed at 141.22. Looks to be trading sideways here. It looks like we found support somewhere around the 142.08, breaking through a resistance area of 142.42. We have 142.62 as a pre-market high. We can mark that here. And if we should break this level back to the upside for NVIDIA, we could possibly have trouble again, 142.90, 143.32. If we break that, keep in mind something can stop us between the 143.32 and the 144.17, because that is the next level. If we break that 144.17, 144.65 could be a rejection area somewhere around there, and 145.02, breaking that, we could possibly have trouble 145.39, and if we break that level, 145.81. Now back to the downside for NVIDIA, 5 EMA is holding us up also, which is here around that 142.42. Breaking that, we could possibly find support back at this level here, 142.08, 141.86, 141.64, 141.42, breaking that 141.31, which is the ATR trailing stop. That's going to be kind of, in my opinion, strong support. So we definitely need to watch NVIDIA at that 141.31 area. Breaking that brings us back to around the 141.05. Breaking that 141.05 area brings us back to around 140.92. Breaking that 140.68, 140.38, 140.08, and 139.72. Breaking that 139.72, we can come back to 139.12, and again here at 138.78. Breaking that level brings us back to our 200 EMA around the 138.49. So if you are trading NVIDIA today, those are possible areas of rejection to the upside and to the downside, and y'all know I say so often, not financial advice. Let's look at AMD today. We closed at 117.31. It too was trading sideways. Looks like we've come down, found support at this 117.59. Price bounce from there only to go back to the upside. Where are the trouble places to the upside? We have here at 118.25. Breaking that brings us back to the 118.45, which is pre-market high thus far. Should we break that level, we could possibly have trouble 118.66, 119.03. Breaking that level brings us back to around 119.37, 119.20 could be a rejection area. Breaking that brings us back to a 119.37. Let me rephrase that. I gotta get it right today. 119.37. Breaking that 120.03. Breaking that brings us back to 120.68. And if we break that, as you can see, there's a few layers here at 121. 113, 121.46, 121.73. If we break that 121.73, we could possibly have trouble 122.17. So those are rejection areas as of now for AMD. And again, y'all, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. So right now we are trading in this area. The support range is around the 117.89. Breaking that brings us back to this level, 117.59. Should we break that level, 117.38, 117.18 is the ATR trailing stop as of now. Should we break that level, we can come back to 116.86. If we break that level, 116.32, and if we should break that 115.79, breaking that level brings us back to 115.20, and if we break that level, 114.83, losing that area of support brings us back to kind of where that 200 EMA is in a previous line that I have marked here, which is around the 114.62, 114.58 area. It is so important that we mark those support and resistance areas. I say that often, y'all. So if you're trading AMD today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. Now, we did have a few inside day candles. I like to give those, meaning if we break through a certain level, this is the possible target. GM is one of those. 49.16 was the breakthrough. We've already reached that target of 49.20. We've already actually made a pre-market high of 49.27. Now, can we continue back to the down or break to the downside? Absolutely. So if we break under 47.27, downside target for GM 47.03. GM is an inside day candle. So is International Paper, or IP. And it too has broken through the trigger of 47.63. Target was 47.78. We made a high of 47.71. Now back to the downside under 46.65. Y'all, we could come back to 46.41 as a downside target. So if that is something that you trade, y'all, I say trade carefully. Macy's is an inside day candle above $11.58, and we've made a pre-market high of 11.61. So we've already broken through that area. Now, if we stay above that, we need to make a new high of this 11.61. I needed to say that. So breaking through 11.58 gives us an upside target of 11.91. To the downside under 11.26 gives us a downside target of 11.26. So we're kind of, that's right at that place. But so if you're trading Macy's today, it is an inside day candle. Let's look at Meta today just to see where we are. We closed at 666.85. So where the trouble places, it looks like we tried to test this area 671.64 only to get rejected, and you see that ATR trailing stop is not far away, 672.02. Should we break that level, we could possibly have trouble 673.45. If we break that, we could possibly have trouble 675.90, and breaking that, there's a few, we could very well get stopped out anywhere in this area here, but the next level I have marked is 681.46. So I anticipate, if you're trading Meta, it could very well stop us out in this area. I would say from this 675.90 up to the 681.46. Should we break that, 682.86, and again here 685.16. So if we break that, those are possible areas of rejection for Meta. And let's look at to the downside. If by chance we break under this level here of, let's see where we are, 669.41, we could very well come back to this area around the 667.43. Should we break that level, 665.78, and breaking that brings us back to around the 662.82. Should we break that level for Meta, we can come back to around 659.96, and again here at 659.01. If we should break that level, we could very well come back to the 200 EMA, which is around the 658.42 areas, right, which is here. I need to remove this. So it could very well come back to the 658.42 area. Breaking that, you see a level we have marked at 657.94, and again 655.92 under that 654.04. So if you are trading Meta today, I say trade carefully, y'all. There's so many different ways to trade in this market, y'all, and so many different ways to make money in the market. And what's challenging is sometimes trying to figure out what way works best for you. So I encourage you to set your stop losses or whatever it is that you choose to use, y'all. Make sure you have the discipline to execute your plan. I hope that everyone have a very profitable day, a very productive day. Again, if you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe. We learn and we grow together, y'all. With that being said, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.